Hello and welcome. You're watching Life with Matthew. Now that I've got my gaming console area all cleaned up, check this info card for a link to that video, it's time to focus on each individual system and do what needs to be done to prolong its lifespan and get the best image quality I can out of that system. Now you may recall, at the end of my last video I said, I also need to get out my Kinect for the Xbox 360, and silly me, I thought all I'd have to do to accomplish this is put the Kinect on top of my console area, plug it into the back of the 360, give everything power, and be good to go. But no, that is not what happened for me. Instead, once I did all that and powered on the 360, I got a really strange message from Microsoft saying, before you can use your Kinect, you need to update your 360 with the latest version of the dashboard. Something that honestly makes no sense. The latest version of the dashboard came out like 3 years ago, so my Xbox should already be on the latest version of the dashboard. But more importantly, I have literally used this 360 with this Kinect not that too far in the past and had no problems, so thanks Microsoft. I don't know why you're doing this, but it certainly was fun that you did. Of course, the real issue with all this is that I've modified my 360 with the RGH 2.0 mod. So if I just let it connect to Microsoft Live and download the latest version of the dashboard, I'd probably brick my system. Now this video will not be showing you how to update your dashboard on your modified 360. That's going to be the next video, but I promise that I'll include a link to that video down in the description area, maybe pin a comment, or I don't know, maybe I'll do another one of those handy dandy info cards that will appear here and now in the future when it's ready. Instead, today I'm going to do all the prep work for installing the dashboard update. And what that involves is just two really simple steps. First off, I'm going to install Xbox 360 Neighborhood on my PC, and then I'm going to install a simple plugin into Dash Launch so that it will trick the Xbox 360 Neighborhood into thinking that I have a developer's console. But before we get going, I want to give a personal thank you to anyone who subscribed to the channel recently. I really am truly appreciative. And to everyone else, please remember, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and maybe even join my Patreon or Subscribestar. Even just $1 a month goes a long way to helping me do more of this exact kind of content in the future. With all that said, let's get going and mod this thing. To do this mod, I'm assuming you already have a JTAG or RGH modded 360 with Dash Launcher installed. This mod should work equally well with the free Dash custom dashboard, but I'll be using Aurora. If you do not have a JTAG or RGH modded 360, I highly recommend you getting it done to your 360. It requires some minor soldering skills, but it really is worth it. If you do not have Dash Launcher installed and would like a tutorial on how to do that, let me know in the comments below. Assuming you meet these basic requirements, all you need for this mod are two additional files, the Xbox SDK and the Xbdm.xex plugin. I've included a link to both these files in the description of this video. The SDK will install the Xbox 360 Neighborhood, which will allow you to directly connect to your 360 to copy content to and from any drive connected to your 360. It will also let you launch apps on your 360 from your desktop, which is very useful. Once it's done downloading, simply double-click the file to run through the installer. Click Next on the license agreement screen, click Next on the release notes, let it install to the default location, and then let it do a minimal install. Now the license agreement does mention that if you access content on the partner network that you're not allowed to access, you can get banned, but we will only be doing a minimal install that gives us access to the 360 Neighborhood and not PartnerNet, so you don't need to worry about that. If you're concerned about the legality of using this software, then my advice is don't use it. It is very useful to have, but there are other ways to transfer files ranging from FTP to USB to Samba shares. This software was designed for use with the developers, and despite it no longer being maintained for a console that is far past its end of life, that doesn't make it abandonware. Modding in general is a bit of a gray area that different courts have made different rulings on, so just be cool about it, okay? Don't use this to pirate games so it doesn't get ruined for the rest of us who just want to enjoy games they have purchased or obtained legally. Once the 360 Neighborhood is done installing, click the Finish button and then copy the Xbdm.xex plugin over to a USB drive that is formatted for FAT32. Take the USB drive over to your 360 and boot it up. Now I'm going to be using Aurora to copy the plugin to the root folder of my hard drive, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to create a plugin folder to put it in there instead, especially if you're going to be using several plugins. Once it's copied over, launch Dash Launcher. then expand the plugin option area. You can see that currently I don't have any active plugins. Select an empty slot, then browse to where you copied the Xbdm.xex plugin and select it. From now on, when you boot your Xbox, this plugin will be enabled. Once you finish enabling the plugin, hit the right bumper to get to the save/load launch.ini screen, and then select the drive you've installed -launcher to. For me, this is HDD. To save the updated settings, once HDD is selected, press your X button. You'll see a message in the bottom left-hand corner saying settings saved to HDD:/launch.ini. You can now exit out of Dash Launcher and reboot your 360. Once it boots into your custom dashboard, you're good to go. At this point, switch back to your PC and launch Xbox 360 Neighborhood, then double-click Add Xbox 360. Click next on the window that pops up and enter the IP address of your 360. Now, if you're anything like me, this is going to result in you realizing that you don't know the IP address of your 360. You're going to have to try and look it up on your DHCP server just to realize that you manually set it on the 360 yourself. You're going to jump through the hoops of finding your IP address and the menu settings on the 360, set it back to get it assigned automatically. You're going to go back to your DHCP server and assign the Xbox 360 a reserved IP address. That way, it's static and you don't have to worry about it changing at some point down the line, but at the same time, you can look up its IP without having to jump through menu options on the 360. Once you do have your IP address figured out, enter it into the 360 Neighborhood window. It should have the console as JTAG. Double-click it and you now have access to your 360. You can copy files back and forth from any drive currently connected to your 360 as well as launch applications. With that, we've done all the prep work we need to update the dashboard. That video should be out next week, so be sure to check back then or just hit the subscribe button and ring that bell icon to be notified of when it's up. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.